Hello and welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit about where cellular respiration happens now and a little bit about just kind of the flow of how this is going to happen. All right, so we're going to have glucose. That's going to be our sugar. That's going to be broken down by glycolysis. All right, and one of the key things about glycolysis is actually anaerobic. This is not where oxygen is needed, okay? Now, if oxygen is present, we're going to undergo aerobic cellular respiration. And what we're going to do in terms of our steps then, the next step would be the Krebs Cycle. Now, the Krebs Cycle also happens to happen anaerobically. There's not oxygen that's required as part of the Krebs Cycle. Okay? That Krebs Cycle then is going to feed into oxidative phosphorylation. Okay? And it's going to be the oxidative phosphorylation where our oxygen is going to be used. All right? Now, alternatively, we can have an anaerobic pathway, a completely anaerobic pathway that happens. Okay? If we don't have oxygen, okay, so this would be anaerobic as far as our respiration goes. So in this case, we are going to have the conversion of our pyruvate that's going to be generated as one of the products of glycolysis. That pyruvate will be broken down either into lactic acid or ethanol, okay? And this end of the generation of ATP within the cell, is going to be the process of fermentation, okay, as opposed to aerobic cellular respiration, okay? So aerobic cellular respiration, we're going to need oxygen present, all right? So that's just kind of a flow diagram of the two processes that we'll discuss, aerobic respiration and fermentation. Now we'll talk a little bit about where this happens. Oh, squeakiness. Okay, this is my fried egg on the board. All right, this is going to be the nucleus here in the center. Remember, nucleus is where our DNA is going to be. All right. The bulk of what we're going to focus on, and this is now not drawn anywhere near to scale. Okay, mitochondria are not bigger than the nucleus. I'm drawing this just so that I have enough room to draw everything in. Okay. We're going to have the different steps of cellular respiration happen in different parts of the cell, okay? So we've got the cytoplasm here, and out in the cytoplasm, this is going to be where glycolysis is going to happen, okay? In this case, our sugar is going to be broken down into pyruvate or pyruvic acid. I tend to use those interchangeably, although technically, chemically, they're not the same. Don't worry about it. Pyruvate or pyruvic acid is fine, okay? That pyruvate or pyruvic acid moves into the mitochondria, all right? Inside the matrix of the mitochondria then, that pyruvate is going to generate our acetyl Let's work on spelling that correctly, shall we? Our acetyl-CoA is going to be generated in the matrix of the mitochondria. So this inner portion here is going to be our mitochondrial matrix, all right? The acetyl-CoA is going to happen there. Krebs cycle, and I'm using Krebs here just because it's shorter, okay? Krebs cycle is also going to occur in the matrix of the mitochondria, all right? And then our last stage, our oxidative phosphorylation, is going to occur in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Oh goodness, that one got way too squeaky. Hold on, let's see if this one is any better. So the inner mitochondrial membrane is going to be where oxidative phosphorylation is going to occur. So that's why I drew the box there, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more in detail about specifically what happens there at the inner mitochondrial membrane and what's going to be produced, okay? So with our different steps of cellular respiration, we're going to have different numbers of ATP generated. Okay, so glycolysis is going to generate a total of 2 ATP. And when I talk more specifically about glycolysis, there are actually going to be 4 ATP generated in the process of glycolysis. But kind of how you have to spend money to make money, you have to spend ATP to make ATP. So you have to put in 2 ATP to make 4 ATP. Okay, but overall you end up with 2 more ATP than what you had before. Okay, so that's a good investment. So we generate 2 ATP with glycolysis. With the Krebs cycle, we're going to generate 2 more ATP. Okay, and oxidative phosphorylation, then, this is where we're going to generate the bulk of our ATP. So we're going to generate 28 ATP and oxidative phosphorylation, okay? So 28 plus 2 is going to be 30, 30 plus 2, that's going to give us total 32 ATP that are generated in the process of cellular respiration. Now keep in mind this 32 number is going to be per molecule of glucose. So this is just from one sugar molecule, all right? One monosaccharide, one glucose. You're going to generate 32 total ATP. And that's going to be how that's going to break down. We've got 2 in glycolysis, 2 in the Krebs cycle, 28 in oxidative phosphorylation. So there's going to be a lot we're going to talk about in oxidative phosphorylation. There'll be a lot we're going to talk about to get those 2 ATP out of the Krebs cycle. Glycolysis, I'm a little lenient as far as that goes. I want you to understand the overall process. I'm not going to ask you individual names of enzymes, except for a couple that I'm going to point out when we talk about glycolysis, okay? Where these occur in the cell, glycolysis is going to be anaerobic. It's going to occur in the cytoplasm. The formation of acetyl-CoA is going to be anaerobic, occurs in the matrix of the mitochondria. The Krebs cycle is going to be anaerobic, occurs in the matrix of the mitochondria. The aerobic portion of cellular respiration is going to be oxidative phosphorylation. That's going to occur in the inner mitochondrial membrane, okay? So if you have any questions, please let me know. Next video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what happens specifically in glycolysis. I'll have another video on the Krebs cycle, another video on oxidative phosphorylation. Thank you for your attention.